Venom 3 has advanced significantly. The anti-hero played by Tom Hardy made a brief foray into the MCU to the pleasure of fans, despite the muted critical reception to both Venom and Venom, Let There Be Carnage. A few months after producer Amy Pascal announced the movie was in the planning phases around the time of Spider-Man: No Way Home's release, the threequel was hinted to at CinemaCon on April 25, 2022, with the publication of the logo. Here is all the information you need to know about the Venom 3 film, which has yet to be given a name. Venom 3 potential release date. When will Venom 3 be out in cinemas? Venom 3 has been confirmed, as was already mentioned, although a release date is still pending. With the established release dates for Kraven the Hunter, Madam Web, and El Muerto, Sony has a busy few years ahead of it with its Spider-Man universe. Additionally, Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, and Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will be released in 2023 and 2024, respectively. If Venom 3 begins filming in 2022, it's possible that the threequel will hit theaters in 2024, possibly in October 2024, as the first two films were released in October 2018 and October 2021, respectively. For the time being, we can only speculate on it, so keep checking back for further information about the release date. Venom 3 cast. Who's coming back for Venom 3? We've got the biggest update behind the scenes. Kelly Marcel, who wrote the screenplays for Venom and Venom, Let There Be Carnage, will replace Andy Serkis as director of the next threequel. She is also making a comeback as a sole screenwriter, working on the story with Hardy as she did in the previous movie. Hardy disclosed that Marcel had begun writing the script around the beginning of 2022. No other cast members have announced they will be returning to their roles, with the exception of Tom Hardy, given Hardy's appearance in Spider-Man: No Way Home. There is more room for Spider-Man to appear in the third Venom movie. It's more difficult to identify the actors who took part in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Detective Patrick Mulligan from Stephen Graham might make another appearance. He would almost certainly be portraying the character Toxin because his last appearance on TV featured him rambling about monsters while sporting blue glowing eyes. Despite saying that there's a potential that may be addressed in the future, the actor has kept mum. We must hope that Michelle Williams does really make a comeback as Anne in She-Venom. Williams, who has indicated interest in playing She-Venom, received no further screen time in Venom, Let There Be Carnage. She could have more room to explore that in a third film, together with her somewhat reluctant fiancé Dan Lewis. Dan and Ed appear to be a really stable pair, so we can't imagine coming back alone. We expect to see more of Peggy Lou as Mrs. Chen, the proprietor of the neighborhood convenience store, even if Venom and Eddie end the film on the run. Unfortunately, given that the movie concluded with Venom biting off the head of Woody Harrelson's character Cletus Kasady, Carnage, he is the least likely to return. Naomi Harris making a comeback would also seem strange, as Shriek was killed by falling debris and a huge church bell, but you never know. Venom 3 plot. What will happen in Venom 3? We don't know much more about what Eddie Brock and Venom might encounter in the threequel other than the fact that he is now on the run. Of course, the question of whether he'll finally face Spider-Man off won't go away, and it might occur in the following film. Eddie. Venom was briefly sent to the MCU in No Way Home, but at the end of the film, he was back in his own realm. You can't rule anything out, though, given that the MCU is now taking into account the multiverse and that Morbius has its own MCU crossover. Sony and Marvel's creative teams appear eager to see it through, while Marvel's Kevin Feige appeared to imply that it wasn't up to him, adding it's likely up to Sony, in my opinion. Venom also exists in the universe of Sony, and both of those characters do. It seems likely at some point. He continued, adding that the third film might be that time. Serkis declared of course it's going to happen before the release of Let There Be Carnage, and Hardy has been outspoken about making it happen as well. I don't see why it couldn't be, provided that both parties were willing and it would be advantageous to both parties. As long as it's within the bounds of what's ethical in business, I fervently aspire for and actively push toward that potential, said he. But if you were running the 100 meters, it would be silly to not head towards the Olympic Games, so absolutely. On that pitch, I want to play. Morbius credit scene hinted at a possible Sinister Six team-up in this dimension, therefore Venom might be included in that in the third film. Everything is feasible right now. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.